Hi YouTubers, it's Smoking SE 77 again for the first video today. So this is going to be a pipe tobacco review right now. First off, I want to say that I am almost done uploading the videos, sorry this is my colostomy, on YouTube in my How to Smoke Cigar series. Now, I have one more video to upload tomorrow, and then that series is over, done with. I'm very happy of how it went. I think I had a fun time doing it. It was a very long series, and just in general, don't expect very long series from me like that. Don't expect 50, 100 part series like that, because they do take a lot of time. And well, it's not especially they take a lot of time. Well, they do take a lot of time, but they take a lot of what's the word? Just a lot of patience, because a lot of times I want to do something different, or I want to do other topics, so don't expect me to do a lot of those series like the 30, 50, 100 part series, just because they are very time consuming and very, I don't have the patience always to do them, but I will do a series eventually on how to do nasal snuff and the series on how to smoke hookah. So anyway, so this pipe tobacco we're reviewing right now is going to be this tobacco. It's going to be Royal Yacht by Dunhill. Sorry. I've actually, this is actually like my fourth time trying to record this video. I've had to stop the recording because of certain issues. I won't talk about them right now. So, Royal Yacht by Dunhill, finally. Now, this is a Virginia-based tobacco. I actually don't have the tin to show you guys because, like an idiot, I threw out the tin. And I have the tin somewhere over there, but I'm not going to dig through my tins right over there. If you don't know, I save my tins from my pipe tobacco and stuff like that, so I don't feel like digging through all those tins over there. I'm sure all of you guys have seen the tins over there and how huge stack I have. So, and obviously I'm using the Ever camera because this camera records longer than 10 minutes. Now, Royal Yacht by Dunhill. It is a Virginia-based tobacco. It is flavored with plum. Now, I actually reviewed this tobacco a long time ago, and I'm actually going to re-review it right now. So, this is a re-review of this tobacco. Now, I reviewed this tobacco originally in 2012, I believe. It was winter 2012, maybe February 2012. And I can't remember when my review. You can actually look at my channel if you want to see what I said about this tobacco. Now, this is, like I said, it has one primary tobacco, which is Virginia, and one primary flavor, which is plum. Now, what the interesting part is, I remember this tobacco having burl in it when I looked up on tobaccoreviews.com, which is always my reference. But now it says it only has Virginia. It could be that tobaccoreviews.com has changed their opinion, if you want to call it opinion, or their status on this tobacco, or it could be this tobacco is being made differently. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago, so I mean, it was like close to 3 years ago that I reviewed this tobacco. So things could have changed. It could have different flavorings now, or it could just be it's been updated. So again, don't scold me if I'm wrong. One of my big pet peeves is when people scold me when I'm wrong, when I really have no control over things. And I do remember this tobacco having more flavorings. I thought this tobacco was flavored with coffee, brandy, and plum. I know it had a plum flavoring, but I thought it had coffee and brandy also in it. I'm not sure. I mean, if anyone knows what the exact flavorings in this tobacco are, obviously Dunhill's a very high up company, and they could be keeping something secret, or it could be there are very small hints of coffee, very small hints of brandy, or very small traces of burley. A lot of times when tobacco companies, like obviously pipe tobacco companies, they don't advertise certain things, but they are, like, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm not going to go on a long ramble about this. I can do a different video on this at a later point. A lot of times on tobaccoreviews.com, sometimes there's tobaccos where there's a little bit of burley in the tobacco, but they don't actually tell you because it's such a small amount. It's like 5% or less. But anyway, enough rambling. So, I'm not sure. This tobacco could have more flavorings, more primary tobaccos. I was pretty sure it had burley, and I was pretty sure it had the coffee and brandy flavor. I'm not sure. So don't you know, scold me, don't troll me if I'm wrong. Now, this tobacco comes in a ribbon cut, like most Dunhill tobaccos. Let's have a smell. Very fruity. Has a very fruity, citrusy, very, very dry, nutty smell to it. So, it smells like burley, actually, and I really think this tobacco had burley in it. Maybe it's just a very small amount they don't tell you. I know another tobacco that's very good, Orlick Golden Sliced, I believe has a tiny amount of burley in it, but they never tell you about it. It's kind of like a secret. They don't tell you it actually has burley when it has a tiny amount. Anyway, I've had 5 bowls so far, so I have a pretty good idea what this tobacco tastes like. Let's do the actual review right now. Now, I do apologize for not having a tin on me to show you guys. Now, the strength of this tobacco, the nicotine content, I would say is pretty high. And that's why I really think it has burley in it, because I really think it's a burley and Virginia tobacco. I'm not sure why I think that, but I really think it does. So the strength of this tobacco is pretty decent. You get a very decent buzz when smoking this tobacco. It's not to the point where I would call it full over the top, full strength, but it's definitely a medium to full. This is definitely something you don't want to smoke on an empty stomach or when you're just in the morning, unless you're just used to that. I mean, like for me, for example, I'm very used to strong tobaccos, and it doesn't bother me personally as long as it's not like Irish Flag or something. So personally, it doesn't bother me, but for the novice pipe smoker, definitely, I would highly suggest smoking this tobacco on a full stomach and not in the morning time, because it does have a pretty decent strength from the tobacco. And that's why I really think it has burley in it, but I'm not sure why it doesn't say it has burley. It actually does look like it has burley, but I don't know. The taste. The taste / flavor of this tobacco, it's a little bit hard to describe, but it's a very sweet and sweet and almost not nutty. It's actually a very complex tobacco flavor. It's not like, obviously you smoke a vanilla aromatic, it's going to taste like vanilla. You smoke a chocolate flavored aromatic, it's going to taste like chocolate. Or even like a Latakia, an English blend, it's going to taste like Latakia. That's very smoky flavor. This is more complex. It's more of a stronger, sharper, very, very, not so much heavy. And in a way it's heavy, but very thick, sweet, nutty, dryness. And that's why I really think it's burley, because that's a typical burley flavor. But I'm not sure. I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if you can post in the comments down there if this tobacco has burley in it, please do, because I really want to know. I bet it has a little bit of burley. That's what I'm guessing. That's what Smoking SE77 is guessing, is it has a very small amount of burley, and they just don't tell you. But the flavor of the tobacco, which is the plum flavor, is very pleasant. It's kind of fruity, has almost like a vanilla taste to it, but it's definitely not vanilla flavoring, because I know vanilla right off the bat. It's more of a more natural, fruity, citrusy taste. You get the plum. The taste, I would call it, it's actually a very strong tobacco. That's another thing I wanted to mention, is it's a very strong tobacco. Has a lot of flavor. Has a lot of very heavy flavor. And one thing I'm not fond of this tobacco is when you puff on your pipe, because obviously this is meant for a pipe. This is not roll your own tobacco or make your own tobacco or anything like that. Contrary to popular belief, Smoking SE77 does not roll his own cigarettes. So, yeah, you get a real strong throat hit with this tobacco. I'm actually glad I'm using this camera, because this video is going to be a long video. If you're not into watching long videos, click off right now with no nasty comments. Yeah, you get a really strong throat hit. That's the biggest thing I notice, is when you draw through, and I'm under the principal idea that you do one deliberate draw through your pipe and then a couple quick puffs, like kind of like a cigar. and obviously pipes are different than cigars. But the point is, I do one slow, quick. What I'm trying to say is, I do one slow puff through my mouth, and then I do a couple quick puffs. And I've been using a corncob pipe, by the way. I use a general corncob pipe, which is a great pipe. Yeah, you get a pretty decent throat hit, and I'm not a huge. I do like throat hits from tobacco, both cigars and pipes, pipe tobaccos, but it's kind of a little unpleasant. And but the flavoring, I would say, is the plum. I really don't detect. I mean, I don't eat plums really. I'm not a plum guy. I don't eat a lot of fruits. I actually eat way too little fruits, which is actually really not good. But I'm not gonna get into nutrition. But yeah, the plum it's more of a fruity flavor, more comparable to something like I'm trying to think of the analogy or the example I would use. More like a fruity. More like a dry orange. That's what I would call it. More like not like orange golden slice where you get a really lemony orange peel like taste, like almost if you're spraying air freshener, aerosol air freshener that's flavored with orange peels or like lemons, like that really citrusy taste or smell, but more of a natural fruit than a plum. I mean, I haven't eaten a plum in a long time, but so. The room note is pleasant because any kind of aromatic, and this is, I guess you can technically consider this aromatic. I mean, some people just consider this a non-aromatic, but it's a Virginia tobacco, but I would consider it, I consider personally, this is just my opinion, you can feel free to disagree with me as long as you don't troll me. I consider anything as a flavoring, excuse me, anything as a ameliorant or flavoring, I consider aromatic personally. And anything that's Latakia based that has a aromatic flavoring, I consider a hybrid blend. So this definitely, I would say, is an aromatic. Now, the tongue bite of the tobacco is undetectable, which means it's good. So there's no tongue bite. The retrohaling, when you retrohale tobacco through your nose, is very strong. I find this is very difficult to retrohale personally because it's a very heavy, peppery taste. That's why I really think it has burley in it, because burley is peppery. Burley is nutty. Burley has that vanilla-like flavoring to it. Because a lot of burley is flavored. I don't know. I mean, please let me know in the comments if this has burley in it. Again, this is Dunhill Royal Yacht. Now, like I said, the retrohaling is very harsh, is pretty strong overall, so definitely something you want to watch. It is possible to retrohale through your nose, though I can tell you right now, it is very strong and can make you cough because of how strong it is. This is a very strong tobacco overall. It's worth noting this is a very heavy aromatic. Probably the strongest aromatic I've ever smoked. And a lot of people don't consider this aromatic, but I would definitely consider it aromatic because it has that plum flavor and maybe a little bit of coffee, a little bit of brandy in it. Actually, that's what more of my taste is brandy, is that alcohol flavoring. So, yeah, I would definitely say it's the strongest aromatic I've ever smoked. And if you consider this an aromatic, which a lot of people don't, a lot of people consider this a non-aromatic or a Virginia blend, but I consider it aromatic because it has a flavoring to it. Definitely the strongest aromatic I've ever smoked. This is way stronger than any aromatic ever. So, sorry, this is my last day. Sorry. Would I suggest recommend to another pipe smoker? Yes and no. Now, some of the pros to this tobacco are it is very easy to pack. Unlike the other tobacco I reviewed, one was a couple days ago or a while back. It was very hard to pack. This is very easy to pack. Very easy tobacco to pack in your pipe. The downside is, and I don't mean to sound like a negative person here, but the downside is this tobacco has quite a few downsides. The biggest downside is the flavor you get out of it, or the taste you get out of it when you're puffing on the smoke, is not very pleasurable. if that makes sense. Not pleasurable in like a fetish sense or like a weird sense. But it's not very pleasurable. You really have to, what's the word, fight for it. And when I say fight for it, it's like, yeah, it's a very easy tobacco to pack, and, you know, when you're smoking it, the taste is not bad. It's not like I'm saying it's a bad tobacco. It's a lot better than a lot of other tobaccos out there, but the taste is not very pleasant. It's not something that is like, wow, that has a really nice English Latakia taste. That's a really smoky Latakia. It's more a throat hit you get. And one of the reasons I had to record this video a couple times is because my throat was really dry. I had just been smoking this in the garage, and my throat was really dry. It was like that. You know, I had to really clear my throat. And I knew it's not the smoking. It's like, I mean, I had to clear my throat like 20 times to get, I kept losing my voice. And no one likes a throat hit. I mean, people, well, let me rephrase that. People, most smokers like a throat hit. I like a throat hit personally. I enjoy it. But when it gets to be the only thing you get out of the tobacco is a throat hit, not the best thing in the world. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a throat hit. You enjoy, you know, the sensation in the back of your throat. It's like drinking a glass of scotch, drinking a glass of whiskey, or drinking a shot of tequila or vodka. But when what the point I'm trying to make is, when the only thing you get out of the tobacco is a throat hit, you get really nothing else. When the predominant flavor is just a throat hit, it's honestly kind of not good. And also, I find this is a very hard tobacco to smoke. It's a very hard tobacco to smoke. Kind of hard to keep lit on, honestly. And I would highly recommend, if you are going to buy this tobacco, and I know this is going to be a long video, but I would recommend drying it out for a good solid hour and a half. Because I let this tobacco sit in my my room for a good solid hour, and that wasn't enough. It's still pretty moist and pretty damp. So I would recommend a good hour and a half to 3 hours of drying out time, and really, really, really packing loosely. One thing I have found is if you pack this tobacco tight, it's just a nightmare to smoke. It's just a nightmare from hell to smoke. But if you pack this tobacco loose, it is enjoyable in a sense. It's also a hard tobacco to smoke, I find. You really have to really suck it. That sounds really weird and odd, but you really have to suck it. I mean, or draw it through the pipe. I mean, when you're puffing on it, it's like, even packed at a decent volume and not packed too tight, it's a very hard tobacco to smoke. Not just because it's moist. A lot of people are going to say, well, it's probably just because it's moist. You have to dry out your tobacco. No. It's because it's just a hard tobacco to smoke. I mean, it is a pretty slow burning tobacco. That's good. I mean, it's a slow burning tobacco. It's slow burning, but it's a very hard tobacco to smoke. I find it's very hard to smoke. Just in general, and when I say that, I mean, it's, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't suggest this to, definitely not to a novice pipe smoker. I think for your novice pipe smoker, your beginner pipe smoker, I'd say stay away from it. It's not as hard to smoke as, say, For Virginia Flake by Sammy Gawith. That was just a nightmare to smoke. That was just, that's like a wet tobacco. It's like smoking wet tobacco. But this is not impossible to smoke. Personally, I prefer Nightcap by Dunhill. And I prefer a lot of the, if I'm going to smoke a Virginia blend, which is not very common because I smoke predominantly Latakia, you know, English tobaccos, I personally would go for something more like Oracle and Sliced, which is a flake. I'm not a huge fan of flakes, but I would prefer to smoke Oracle and Sliced, even like an Aaron Moore flake over this. This does not suck. It's not like it sucks. It's not like it's crap. But I would definitely recommend, highly, highly recommend drying it out for a good amount of time. You know, good solid 2 hours, if not more. Because you can always rehydrate, so, I mean, not bad. It does have a decent taste, but I mean, when you get, all you get is a throat hit, that indicates either your tobacco's too moist, you're not packing right, or you're just not drawing right, or it's just not good in general. So overall rating for this tobacco, I do apologize for not giving a 10 out. I'd probably only give it out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10, which is a D in my book, honestly, which is pretty a poor rating. 6 out of 10 has a nice flavor, has a good amount of strength, which is nice for people who like nicotine, people who like getting a buzz, but very hard to smoke and not very enjoyable to smoke. Something that I would recommend for the more experienced pipe smoker. So I know this video is going to be very long, but something I would recommend for the more experienced, more intellectual pipe smoker, somebody who's been smoking for a long time like me. Because if you buy this tobacco and you've just been smoking for a couple months, you're probably going to be very disappointed. I mean, I might keep this tobacco or not. I may throw it out. I may trash it. I'm not sure. And for the last time, I don't send tobacco through the mail. So don't be asking me to send you this tobacco. I don't know. It's not bad. It's not to the point where it's a yuck, this is disgusting. But it's not something I would, definitely not for the novice pipe smoker. Something I would recommend more to people who are experienced pipe smokers. People who have been smoking for a long time. Who have mastered the packing very well. I mean, you never master packing, but people who can pack very well. People who can, just crack my knuckles. People who can dry out tobacco and figure out a drying method pretty well. So, not bad. I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10, like I said. So, not my cup of tea, personally. I wouldn't say it's bad, I wouldn't say it's great, I would say it's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, actually, I decided. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I give it a 7 out of 10. So, forget about that. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Not bad. And definitely something that is not horrible, but definitely to stay away from if you're a novice pipe smoker. Anyway, I've been rambling on long enough, so as of now, there's only one more video to upload in the How to Smoke a Cigar series. So that series will end tomorrow, and I will start pre-recording videos for a new series because I have decided that I want to pre-record videos instead of doing live videos. It makes no difference whatsoever. Anyway, comment, rate, subscribe, press if you want to, and bye.